Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. All right. So on the advice of one of those producers that we talk about that have come on the shows, and they did suggest a little tweaking. Don't fade in if it's going to be a hyper, high energy thing, and do fade in if it's a little more calm and relaxed, kind of that mood setting thing. So I'm still playing around with it. Now you'll notice I faded in today, and it has nothing to do with Barbara, because she and I are going to have a very exciting, fun conversation. It's all about how to learn to forgive for yourself. Learn to forgive somebody else, and that's not about them, it's about you. We'll get into that in a second. But the reason I came on in that fade-in is because Middle Texas, right? I think all of you guys, or at least most of you, know what's going on down there in the flash flooding. My son and grandchildren, one of my grandchildren are there. As a matter of fact, they're the reason I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you know this, Barbara, but I'm in the process of a move. I'm moving out to the country of Oklahoma, just above the North Texas border, so I can be within a spit and a throw from my kids. Because I'm out here in nowhere land in Chicago, Illinois, and over the time they all said, "Okay, great, Dad, love you. We're come and see us." And it started to go away because Illinois isn't the most exciting place in the world. Not the business, the machinery business I have or had as I wound down to start this up, it landlocks you. You don't have to be where my customers are. Some of this equipment's 25,000, 30,000 pounds. Can't be in California and ship that to New York, or you can, but it costs a lot more. Wow, we got people jumping our quick. Barbara, this is a little unexpected. I'm only 2 minutes in. Usually people are starting to finish up their coffee, sitting out on the porch, getting ready to get into the show and open it up. We're already got a bunch of people jumping on. So this is going to be a fun show, Barbara. I'm really excited about this, and I'll get into more of that later. But I did promise a couple of who will probably be on today. I don't know if they're on yet or not, but it's going to take a second. I had it open, but we went out of time there. Let me see. Let me do it. Oh, shoot. This always happens to me. I get all ready. I try and look professional. And then for this reason or that reason, I sit here and stare at my phone when I'm trying to make a great point for you guys. And I just I promised her, this particular part of our family here, and a couple other ones, that I would read this off because it's important. It's we're here about getting into it's irritating. Getting into the empowerment and the building of the human being. The human experience needs to continue to grow. That's a word you use really that I really caught on with, Barbara. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. And I don't want to end the conversation. I had it open, man. Why is it gone? Did one of you guys messing with me here? I know somebody snuck in here and changed it. Either that or I'm just really unorganized. Give me a couple more seconds. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's do it. Oh, here it is. Perfect. Just timing. I was just going to give up on it. So, little prayer. And again, kind of ties in with what Barbara's talking here, because her approach is through spirituality or a higher purpose or power. Whether you're in one religion or another, whether you're into spirituality, or you're not quite sure what it is, but there's something more bigger than you out here in the world. So I think this is a good show. Sorry, I'm getting choked up. I think this is a good show to bring this up. So thank you very much. Emily. That's all I'm going to say. But she begged me to put this on because she has family here too, as do several of our other folks, Ronalda, and there's a ton of them. But this is for Middle Texas. Heavenly Father, we lift up we lift up the people of Texas into your loving care. You see every heart, every struggle, and every need. In the midst of storms, floods, or any hardship, be their refuge and their strength. Bring peace to the fear, healing to the injured, and comfort to those who are grieving. Excuse me. All this stuff always just kind of catches me. Protect the vulnerable and the elderly, the children, the sick, and give wisdom and endurance to the first responders. Rescue teams and leaders. We pray for unity among neighbors. Right there. That's a big one. Unity between neighbors, for compassion to overflow, and for hope to rise even in the darkest moments. May your presence be near to all who call out to you, and may your grace bring restoration to homes, families, and communities. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, I'm not trying to force religion down your throat here in the just breaking into the afternoon here in Central Standard Time, but I thought it was important to reach out, especially in this message that we're talking about with Ms. Hunt, who, by the way, is an Aussie, and you know how much I love accents. So this is going to be an all-around fun show. And it's going to be very informative because you know how much we work with not only veterans and that struggle that is, it's way too hot already. My God. Oh, by the way, Thursday and Friday, I've blocked out. There's no shows on those 2 days. I'm driving to Oklahoma. I'm buying a house just over the northern Texas border, and I'm going to become an Okie here pretty soon. But I can't wait to get my new best friend in the world ever. And I'm serious. Best friend talks a great message, has a beautiful story, talks wonderfully, and I got you to meet Barbara. How you doing, Barbara? I know you. You look familiar.
From earlier on. Yeah, I'm well. Thanks, Rod. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's a real pleasure. And this is the kind of thing that, especially, like I said, we do a lot of work in this area, or not a lot of work. We have a lot of people who know what they're talking about that we're fortunate enough to either run across or be found by, and bringing these kind of messages to the people. I always talk about the elites have a little more. No, they have a lot more resources and so forth. So they're able to grab stuff that is needed in life. I got to turn that phone off. Needed in life, and the great middle class has less ability to get to a lot of resources that are still needed. We talk about AI. We talk about wealth. We had a angel investor on teaching people just a week ago how to become an angel investor. That's big time. I mean, we're talking about being able to control money without much money and knowing that system. Here's a dude that's, I don't know, he's close to 8, I think, figures. And he's spending time with us and chatting about these are the things you do, and and just loves the community of the great middle class because nobody pays attention to it. Not really. There's issues that come up, but this is dedicated to that message. And you're dedicated to and on a journey. And I forgot to mention this earlier, so I'm going to take a couple more minutes. Wow, I took way too long on this one. And you're at 100 people. So I did a good job getting everybody fired up, huh, Barbara? They're ready for you. Anyway, real quick, the thing I forgot to mention to you is you're on a journey and this message, but there were things that you don't have to go all the way back to birth. I've actually had somebody do that, but you don't. Let's see here. I told you, here it already comes. What did I tell you? It's a little early. I said about 10 minutes, didn't I? So what I want you to do is start with your journey, if you would, please. Because there's got to be a base for where that came. It just adds color to the layers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
So
true.
if you would say what got you there, and then let's go on to you, because I want to hear your voice.
Well, 13.7 billion years ago, there was a big,
Oh, wow.
oh no, okay, maybe a bit less.
Wow, that was quite a journey you've been on. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It started a long
You're-
time ago. Yeah. And it's, I've kind of been with it ever since, like learning and growing and evolving. That's been my work. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I was raised in the Christian faith. I was raised as a Catholic. So I always
Southern
had,
Baptist. Southern
not
Baptist.
a Baptist, no, Catholic. And I was,
Me.
I was given,
Me.
oh, you're the Baptist. Yeah. I was given, I think there's a privilege about being given a particular background, and it's something that you work with and work against, and like you're in a bit of a dance with it. But there's something amazing about the sacraments, and one of the things that you do, which is this whole kind of thing about forgiveness. I think my really early experience with forgiveness was like, don't hit your sister,
sense.
say sorry, the kind of basic stuff. And then I got really interested in personal spiritual development. I read Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Do you know that book, Jonathan?
Oh yeah. Oh my, yes. One of the first books I ever read, to be honest with you.
Me too. And that really put me on a spiritual path that was broader than just my upbringing, and asking really deep questions like, why are we here? What's it all for? Why do we seem incapable of making it work? And then I got involved in personal and spiritual development trainings. So sort of like in the late 90s.
What does that mean?
So there was a group of people, and they created this amazing training called the More to Life program. Absolutely fantastic.
More to life.
More to life.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And at the time it was called the Life Training. And these two Episcopal priests were just saying, okay, so we have this great message that we're telling everybody about, but nobody goes home and practices it. So they were looking, how do we create tools to help people to live by these principles and these values that they're being taught every Sunday? So
interesting.
I was really interested in tools. My dad's an engineer. I was really interested in like, how do we help things get fixed quicker than, like maybe having therapy for 30 years, like what's, these skills that we don't have, like you said, the middle class. I think all of us are not given mental or emotional guidance. We don't know how to have relationships. We don't know how to have difficult conversations. We don't know how to forgive each other. And that's partly what this training was offering. And then I did.
Or why, why to forgive each other, right?
True. Exactly. Yep. And so then I got really interested. I did some training with them. I became a mentor through that program. And then I was teaching courses about self-esteem and courses about purpose. And then I also did some training called The Journey.
How old were you here? What's the time?
Sort of
20 years ago, 5 years ago,
no,
yesterday?
30 years ago.
Okay. All right. So you've been doing it a while.
I've been doing it a while. Yeah. So it's been a lifelong fascination. Like how do we be better human beings? Why are the things, just knowing about things, that's not enough. Can I dig into something here a little bit? And I won't bug you this much. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. I promise that to people all the time. But so I read this into what some of the information I was checking out. I was checking you out. I'm not stalking, just checking it out and trying to be a little informed anyway. So one of the things that interested me about your story is that I think I have a very similar space. I'm in a very similar space as you as far as when it comes to spirituality. I may be wrong about this, but I told you I grew up Southern Baptist, and a lot of crazy stuff happens, and in and out of religion and or not. But something's always fascinated me. I studied religion. I'm really fascinated by the Jewish religion. Like you said, Catholicism. My sister converted to Catholicism because she married into a family, and
She went through that whole process. All of her kids are Catholics, very, very stringent, very rheumatic in how they practice the religion. And it's awesome. Just don't ever go to a Catholic wedding in Mexico, because I have several times, and they do this thing twice. And you know how long that process is, times two, one in Spanish, one in English. And then those suckers party all night till the sun comes up. It's the greatest time in the world, but you better be ready for it. So anyway, the reason I'm asking the question is because I don't know how much you want to get into this subject, because it kind of is the lead up to your subject, but religion facet. My God, the questions are coming in like nuts. Can you see that? That's always because all religions, same God,
Yes.
same exact God. A lot of stories, same stories. Whether it's the Quran, I study that too. I actually have religious leaders on here quite a bit too. Well, not quite a bit, but we've had from all the four major religions, which I also consider Buddhism. And there's not really a religion, but it's kind of that thing. And even the stories there, and how many levels of heaven or hell you go through in the human experience. All these stories kind of, if you really watch them, they kind of mesh. Except Jesus, oh God, I forgot his name. The Islam,
Muhammad,
and then Buddha has a couple of the minor gods. I think they're called minor gods or something. And so all these things are the same, except for what we want to take as the presenter of the message. Jesus came to take our sins away. In each one of those, there's a prophet that is that kind of thing, but we all hate each other. I don't get that. I don't get that. That's where I think humans screw some things up sometimes, because I believe in the word from God. I don't know that the people who wrote it down, especially the Catholics, you little suckers, back in the Roman days, you needed to control your population. The popes were as evil as everybody else was back then. I'm not sure that that's fair or reasonable, but explanation point. Right? I mean, I think mankind kind of screwed up that message, and God's up there going, guys, hang in there. I'm coming. Don't worry. I'll be here in the right time. But because we're misled in the religious practices, I think. Is all that too strong, or is that something you don't even care about and want to get into? Is this a good lead into the rest of your story? I don't know.
I love it.
I love it.
No, what I was
nervous,
is,
girl.
that is probably the key thing, is like this idea that there's a chosen people, because my view is, if we have a loving, creator, the evolutionary, whatever it is, the divine,
right,
would be as caring for the whole of humanity, not just this elbow or this eye, like the whole thing. And we, as if we were a humanity who was actually really paying attention, we would not want to blow off our own elbow and go, ha, that got it, because you'd realize that
we do
destroy your exactly. So that's
all day.
That's the really interesting question, is that we have all of these different teachings in all of these different traditions that are basically saying, be kind to each other, be nice, but they're usually to your tribe,
to your
as
people,
opposed to
people,
the whole people. And that's what we need to wake up to, is we need to wake up as one humanity. And I've always wondered about this. I don't know if you've got anything to say about this, that I always thought we'd have, like, it would only be when there was some kind of alien invasion about to happen that we would unite as a humanity, because some kind of threat would be threatening all of us, and that we would need to do something about that. And I've kind of like, I'm curious actually about how we've actually created, potentially with AI, a threat. We have to constrain it and manage it so that it serves us rather than, does anything terrible. And so we technically, we've created that. We've created an existential threat, which we really could be responding to in a different way. We could be, I mean, this is the thing that frustrates me so much, and why I'm such an advocate for forgiveness, because I believe Desmond Tutu, without forgiveness, there's no future.
That's your first line. That's awesome. Love Desmond. He's a prophet. Realistically, one of those people that are born, go through things, and then all of a sudden you realize there's so much more than there. That's a human being. That's a human being.
Yeah.
It's
Amazing
really an angel,
legacy.
I think.
Yeah. Amazing legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you ask me, you said you wondered, and if you don't mind, I'll respond to that. No, I never thought about that. If aliens came in and we were under threat as a world, not as a nation, but as a world, would we come together as a people? First of all, I think the people aren't the problem in this scenario. The people, I mean, we love people from Iran. Iranians love us, but the tribe leaders are evil. None of them are as good as us. Our government, your government, I would assume. I'm not going to knock your government, but I know a few things about you guys over there, and you're better than they are. That's why this power of coming together, because in mass we can change all that and not have that anymore. We don't want necessarily one world government. I don't know that that's a good thing, but because I don't trust government totally at all. So, but to be able to acknowledge that people are not the government, that's a big thing, because the governments are screwing it all. Second, AI, it's very controllable. And it will not be, we've all seen the movies. There are not going to be robots in 10 years storming the earth and killing all the humans around. Maybe 1,000 years, I don't know. But all AI does is it works 24 hours a day as your personal assistant to do all your whatever mundane stuff you don't want to do. And it does it better. And for me, pretty close to almost everything we do. I'm a one-man band, me and Barbie. So I automate everything, scheduling, something comes in, boom, it goes out. It's automatic. I've been training it for 1.5 years, so it knows me. I'm not kidding you about this, right? I think you train these things to do what you want to do. Now, at some point in time, maybe that's going to twist and they're going to come back on us, like iRobot. Remember that show by Will Harris,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, great. But there's all those scary things out there. We actually give a class that kind of shows why that's not the case. So back to religion. I didn't know how to end that. Hey, by the way, since we got a break, sorry. We're at 22 minutes. We haven't even looked at a question yet, which is fine. It's not uncommon on the show, trust me. And they know we go through everyone. Do you have a hard stop by any chance? I know you're on different hours. Okay, good. Because yesterday we went 2 hours and 45 minutes on one of the shows, which I didn't plan on doing. And the only reason we cut it off is because she was getting ready for a client that she had to see in 10 minutes. Wow. And so we're like, I actually hurried it up. But we usually go at least an hour. So I have a real strong feel. Let me see how many people we got on. Okay. Yeah. Oh, just added a bunch more. So you're okay with floating over an hour a bit?
Yes.
And the second thing is, did you figure out? I haven't told these guys, you were listening. I haven't told these guys about your song. I don't know if it's right now. Maybe it is because it's a transition. Maybe it's not. I don't know. You tell me. Can you play the song? I know you can play it, but do you have it recorded? I have it recorded with a video, and I've got it up on. I've got it on QuickTime. So if you can give me permission to share my screen, okay. I can do that. Let's see. Present, share screen. That's me. Can't you do it, or where do I have to give you permission? Oh, hang on. To check? Then, actually, I've got. Hang on. You should be able to, down at the bottom, it should say screen. Got it. Okay. So let's do this. Why don't you spend 30 seconds here or whatever for a setup? Because you and I have already talked about this, and it's a beautiful message. It's the core of, it sings to the core, because you're a musician. This show is full of musicians. We have musicians on a lot because it's an important part of the human experience because we're vibrations, and notes are vibrations, and that message comes through seemingly much better. Spend a couple seconds, whatever you need, setting it up. I'm going to go through a couple of notes as soon as I hear the song. So I'm going to be off screen, like I showed you, going through here. As soon as I hear the song, I'm going to come back on. And is that okay with you? Are you good? Is it a good time, or should we do it in 10 minutes or whatever?
I'm opening systems preferences to let it do its thing.
I'm not going to leave you hanging here alone.
No.
Because I do that all the time. Trying to figure it out. Uh-oh, we didn't lose you, did we? She's in, by the way, she's in Australia, as we talked about. Barbara is in Australia, as we talked about. And there's some, every region has its issues. Here
you go.
Okay, we're back. We good? We lost you for a second. We lost you completely. All right. Let's not try that video, maybe. So what I'm going to do is holy crap. Hey, Barbara, you got to get back here. There's like 500 people on here. I can't handle all you guys. You guys have beat me up. You guys call me stupid, and which I would deserve. Come back in, Barbara. Let's see. What do I do here? What do you guys want me to do? Let me read through some of these things somewhere down the bottom. I saw Ronaldo on here, so she always saves my ass when I really need it. Oh, we got the adventure show on again. They were on yesterday. Dixon Rude. The myths you busted were eye-opening, and we haven't even gotten started yet, dude. The biggest misconception people have about forgiveness. Tobias, this is an awesome question. We're going to be jumping on that pretty soon. Or maybe we won't. I don't know if we are or not. But I tell you this, we're going to be going through it in some format or another, because here's the thing, and she's going to go over and give the actual good information to this. I'm going to, as you know, I'm the safety net of our show. If I understand, thank you. I was just running out of stalling words. I was like, so when you popped out, I said, thank you.
Here we go. Right. All right. Can you see that?
I see that.
Wake up is one.
Yep. Okay, well, so you should be able to see it. I just added it to the screen. We're on the left side here. Go ahead. Hey, pause it for a second. Lead into it a little bit. We didn't get the lead in. You fell off.
Okay. Yeah.
Real quick.
So this song is my heartfelt longing to humanity.
Her song. She wrote it. She's a song. I didn't tell anybody this. Sorry about that. She's a song. I told you we're not real professional. We try to be. Well, we kind of want to be, but don't care that much. Songwriter. You're a piano player, not guitarist. Sorry, but this was written for this piano.
Yeah, and but I wrote this on the piano, but then I had somebody who knows what they're doing play it. So here we go.
Okay, I'm ready, man. I'm going to take us off stage.
Great.
Got a little lag here. Let's see if it catches up, folks. We're trying. I'm getting, when I moved to Oklahoma, this is set. Is this? Oh, wow. I hear the violin. Is it lagging? It's okay to feel crazy. It's human to cry. To feel so confused and not understand why. How do we wake up from us versus them to all of us? How you gonna wake up as one? How you gonna wake up as one? Get around the table, bringing our gifts to the feast, serving
Come dressed for it. Come, let's wake up as one. Come, let's wake up as one. Come, let's wake up. Come, let's grow up. Come, let's clean up. Come, let's show up. Come then. Come then.
Is that you, Barbara? Is that you in the image?
Yep.
Wow, that was beautiful. I apologize. I don't think we kind of gave it justice. Would you put where that's is? Could you put a link in there on that
Sure.
song where that song is?
Sure.
Because people can watch it. I think we ate up a whole lot of digital space through the little wires there with me streaming, you stream, and the song. That actually worked out a lot better. I did my mom. Remember I told you about my mom's Fullerton Music Centers?
Yeah.
That music company out there. One of the people that I'm very good friends with and is a traveling, almost kind of country, more like Eagles style. But she has a mission. Her sister was taken, as a child, like 10, 11 years old. Nobody knows what. Of course, we kind of wouldn't know what. But she does this whole thing for missing people, missing children. And that's a big deal. I mean, there's 300,000 missing kids that have crossed, 30,000 that this last year that have crossed the border in our southern border that nobody knows where they are. And there's a lot of trafficking, all that bad stuff. So we're getting off of the subject a little bit. Let's pull it back on. That was a beautiful song. Can you kind of fill in? Because I could tell, but it didn't give it justice here. While you're talking, I'm going to copy and paste that over.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, I mean, the whole thing was, in fact, do you know the the American philosopher Ken Wilber? Do you know his work?
I know his name. I'm not, it's not ringing a bell. Give me something. I'm sure I do, but give me something to catch on to.
His work is integral theory. And but he basically came up with this idea that you need to wake up, grow up, clean up, open up, show up. And so I kind of I stole some of that.
That's awesome.
It's cool, isn't it? Wake up, grow up, clean up,
very cool.
Open up, show up.
It's exactly, it's funny. Sometimes the simpler, when they have a little right. By the way, we're almost at 500 people here.
Cool.
I didn't know if you noticed that, but while that song was coming, or actually right before, you dumped off. So I think it's because you dumped off. They felt sorry. So let's go support her. But we're up to 492, then 480, and then now we're back up to 490. So this is, I told you, this might go a while.
Shall I try leaving again? Should we double our numbers?
No, we're not going to risk that. We're not going to risk that. You had me to the end. I literally at one point tied a rope to the bottom, knot to the bottom of the rope so I could hang on, waiting for you to come back. So let's stay here together. You're breaking up. You may end up going off. I was telling them, you're out in Australia. You're out not in the proper city, so sometimes signals can get a little. And you're actually working off of off your phone for a what do they call it?
Wi-Fi. I'm in the UK. I'm a Brit.
Oh my God! Why was I say? I've said that 3 or 4 times now. Yeah. Why didn't you? Oh, thanks a lot. You let me hang there for a while. Why did I get that? I got that from somewhere though. I'm bad, but I'm not.
No,
okay,
I think if you researched me, you might well have seen me talking in Australia to Australian women.
Yes, that was I think that was one of the interviews I saw, but I thought, I misunderstood that altogether.
That's good.
So, hi Britt, how you doing? We're doing good over here in America. We celebrate our 250 years next year. Not to rub it in or anything, but
yeah.
All right, I'm going to get off that. So let's talk. I put up your link here. It's
Thank
down
you.
at the bottom, but I just wanted to show that so people could watch it, because if you listen to it, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And there's a message in there that I think we got more of the message than the music, which always is a supportive role to the actual message. So,
Yeah.
but I want people to see that and be able. As a matter of fact, I'll probably share that myself.
Please.
Because music is a thing, right? So let's go back up here. As far as your journey on, is there anything you're still wanting to kind of, because that was kind of setting into the questions that we're starting to roam into here. But was there anything else that you wanted to bring into the base of this discussion, because it's so important?
Yeah, just one other little thing. So on the very first personal development training weekend, they had us think about who might we be holding a grievance against. Who might still, like holding on to.
I know a couple. I got a couple.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought, well, I'll lower my bar. Probably pretty much everyone I've ever met, pretty much. And I'm not, I don't think of myself as a particularly resentful person, but I just thought, let's be honest. And so I started my list, and I got to number 36, and I thought,
wow.
Yeah, probably my mom as well. I thought, put her name down. And then as it transpired, as we were doing that work, I realized that I was holding a grievance against my mum because she had been ill when I was a teen. So from 15 to 30, when she died, she had multiple sclerosis. And that had a devastating effect on our family, just like J.K. Rowling. It's like it's such a big thing to happen. I mean, and I'm not saying, multiple sclerosis rather than any other debilitating disease, all of them, cancer, but you don't die of it. There's a long decline. And
it's not only that, but there's also when you say decline, physical. I mean, you watch it decline in cancer or other things.
Yeah.
It's all bad.
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's, another one. Yeah.
And I realized that I was holding a grievance against her for being ill. So it wasn't her fault. It wasn't my fault. I just didn't know how to deal with it. So quite a lot of people who talk about forgiveness have big stories, like somebody was killed or murdered, or like somebody ran over something, like there's or a big betrayal, or there's big money. Often the stories, especially the TED Talks, it's big stuff. And my approach is very much more about the slightly less sort of expanded version, but much more personal, and the small grievances, the everyday stuff. And I think that's more important. For example, friends who let you down, your kids taking advantage. I was the one who was cleaning out the fridge at my son's university after he'd been there. Like, why was I doing that? That's
a hard one right there.
The little things. Yeah. So my approach is about everyday forgiveness, because you don't want to leave it out in the realm of those like terrible things that I don't know how somebody forgives. That's amazing. And then not go, hang on a minute, what's in here? I need to do some forgiveness work for myself.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Sorry, our timing's off here a little bit, and I really apologize. I'm not trying to interrupt you or anything, but there's kind of a little timing thing with so I try and improve during the show. I hope I can catch up to that. I just want to kind of roll from that, because it's very important that opening. We're now opening the first layer of this onion, let's call it. The first layer, we're just opening that up. And so back to Tobias, who's been waiting very patiently for us. Okay, 40 minutes in, we're going to get to our first question. That's impressive, right? So Tobias is asking a great question. And it's good timing for this right now, right? I'm assuming,
perfect.
Barbara. And so Tobias is saying, what's the biggest misconception, excuse me, misconception about forgiveness? And I think I know what this answer is. It's not a. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you can, because we
No.
kind of know. Well, I think the most. I mean, there's actually quite a lot of them. But
Yes.
probably the biggest is thinking that forgiveness is letting the other person off the hook, and saying that it's like that, like they're pardoned and therefore it doesn't matter, and I just need to suck it up. It's forgiveness is so not about that, but that's the biggest misconception. Or it's a weak position, or that it somehow is detrimental to you. And then the other one, the most obvious, like if we just lay out the first few misconceptions about forgiveness, is that it's for the other person. Like, I'm letting you off the hook, as opposed to forgiveness is something where I'm liberating myself, my own being.
Now, isn't every one of the things you used as an example exactly the opposite? Because you're not doing this for them. As a matter of fact, I'd go as far to say, are you okay? You're good. I keep getting worried. Are you? I would go as far as to say that if you forgive somebody to them, it's not a weakened position. As a matter of fact, if that person has anything in them at all, that's going to make more pressure back on them, going, they're forgiving me, and then that has an opportunity to start I don't know if it's needed or not. I don't know the situation, but it seems to me that if somebody is forgiving somebody else for something they wronged the other person for, that shows how much more maturity and just passive awesomeness that I have, and puts all the pressure on you, the other person who did the wrong, to say, my God, I did that and they're forgiving me.
Yeah.
That's what I pull out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And even more than that, if you can just not even think that forgiveness is actually anything to do with the other person. It's like, you don't have to have a conversation with them. You don't have to say, I forgive you.
Okay, I got
you don't even need to do that part. It's about what you're carrying in your own heart. And that's the most important thing. It's like we gather all these little grievances up, and and then we kind of like wonder why our lives aren't working, because we've got all these grievances. Yep. And the other person is like, they're not even aware. I mean, they might if you're a little bit short with them, but they're usually not aware that you're carrying all of this. This is inside you. You're the one waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning going, that. And so the letting go of your resentment, who's free?
Yeah, that's a very, very, very impressive point. I gotta get this thing out. I keep messing with my studio, and half the time I just mess it up more than it was before. But that's my nature. That's my little thing. So if you notice here, the things are coming in pretty quick. I also put it on the screen. I mess around with this every once in a while, but this is an interesting, and I think the answer is going to be totally different from what Ryan would think it would be. And if you don't mind, let me say something, and then you correct it and give us the actual facts. But I would say that if somebody keeps hurting you, get them the hell out of your life. I mean, there shouldn't be after a certain point, and then you're like, I've been forgiving this person, and you want to be spiritual, you want to keep, but if somebody keeps hurting you, it shouldn't even be a matter, because they should, right? I mean, is that the direction, or I don't know. What do you think about Ryan's question here?
Yeah, I agree with you. Is you vote with your feet. You leave. If someone keeps...
I like that. You vote with your feet. I like that. Go ahead. If somebody keeps...
Well, if they keep hurting you,
awesome.
then and they're not going to change. I mean, that's the thing. And also you have to be able to untangle what's the hurting thing, because we're very quick at going, well, if you sit like that, you remind me of my father, and so you've triggered me. It's like you can't always blame the other person for triggering you. It's like, what's the hurty thing? If someone's, repeatedly, like betraying you or having affairs or something, then right. you do need to do something about it. And when you've left them, then do your forgiveness work so that you free yourself from that, the taint of all of that. I mean, that's why you do the forgiveness work, is to free yourself. It's not about condoning the behavior. And that's that, again, probably in terms of misconceptions.
Okay.
It's not about condoning unacceptable behavior. There are things that are going to be wrong always. Abuse, violence, murder, like betrayal, thieving. I mean, like there are things that are wrong. It's like, I think people kind of conflate, well, if I'm going to forgive something, does that mean like saying it's right? Of course not. Of course, there are some things that are just wrong and we need to stop doing them. Meanwhile, what do you do with the pain and the grief and the grievance?
That's interesting. And you know what? It's actually, let's step back a second before we go on, because I know you're going into what do we do with it now. But, we talked about God and we talked about religion, we talked about spirituality. And in that message, it's always been forgive thy neighbor, forgive those who trespass against you. And never once is it's presented in a way you just said it. I keep pointing at you down here, and I have that because it's hard. If I'm looking at you, I can actually see what you're doing. But if I'm looking at you, I can't see what you're doing. So I'm trying to make. But that message runs alongside what your message. The same message. It's not about whether it's right or wrong. Doesn't even matter. It's not about whether you're condoning it or not condoning it. Doesn't even matter. That's not your thing. That's their thing to deal with. But God told us, let's say, the heavens told us, whichever one of them told us, that you to forgive. That's the key thing. You don't even ask for it. Jesus supposedly hung out with prostitutes and it's not about but it's about creating that vibe, that better world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And Jesus said, when he was asked, how many times do I forgive? 70 times 7. That is a lot. And that is not like, apart from these people, Jesus did not have any clauses. He was like all the time, everything. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things that need to be litigated and that we need to have agreements as societies. These things are not acceptable. These are the values that we want to live by. This is what is, going to be litigated against. And this is, like we need those. And because forgiveness is about your internal state. And there's still things that need to happen in the world. So you can divorce somebody with your heart open, knowing this is the end of our marriage. How sad, but we're going to take care of the children. We're going to co-parent, and I'm happy for you the next part of your life. Or you can take them to court and get, squeeze as much, you can do it with hate in your heart, or you can do it, with actually, I don't know if I'm still. Have I bounced off? Oh, no, I'm still there.
No, you're good.
No, I'm good. I just wondered if my internet connection had gone down. So you can do these things with hate in your heart, or you can do them with your heart full of love. And that's the thing. It's like we don't really. I mean, since probably the 70s, we haven't really talked about love very much. All the kind of Nixon, like your kind of like presidents who are being more like, it's like the 60s, love and peace and all that sort of thing. That's really gone out of fashion. And we're like,
wait. Hey, do you remember the old 7-Up? Was it 7-Up or Coca-Cola? Back in the 70s, there was a bunch of hippies and love the world. There was a whole commercial about love. And it became a very popular, actually probably one of the most
I'd like to teach the world to sing.
Yes, that's it.
And
so you're right.
Love. Mm-hmm.
That was all in fashion. It's gone out of fashion big time. As a matter of fact, we're all in our little boxes hating each other because the media tells us to, and we believe in them.
Yeah.
But I think it's coming back into fashion now. You see shows like this are being more attended. People are thirsting for the ability to come back together.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too. And I think there will be hopefully there will be this backlash because we can't, like I said, the Desmond Tutu quote, without forgiveness, there really is no future unless we learn how to overcome our differences and to see the humanity in each other and appreciate the differences in us, until we learn
relish in that.
Yeah.
Relish in that. We're special, man.
Yeah.
We're special.
Yeah, that's where the fun is. The accents, like the where people are different, and appreciate them, because we're not ultimately different from each other. Like
Not at all.
whoever like whoever's children you're killing, they're children. So we need to get with that and go, actually, as a humanity, killing is not acceptable as a way of solving our differences anymore. It's so blunt, it's so archaic. We need to up our game, and we need to use diplomacy. We need to find other ways of solving our problems. Just even the thing about NATO, now we're on like 5% of our GDPs. Just imagine what you can do with that money for good. Grow food, educate, create, like musicians. It's so hard for musicians to make money anymore, because no one, the amount of money you get paid for a gig is about the same as it was in the 80s, and the Spotify streams 0.001 of a dollar per stream. So and that's only if you have over 1,000 monthly listeners. I mean, the whole thing is rigged. And so unless we learn how to do things differently and share, we're, what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's all going to go to hell, so to speak. Couple things here.
Already has.
It has. Couple things here. You talked about whether we're killing the children, and you can bring that down to the street level. That's not a really good example, but to compare that, I don't care if you're black, white, if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim or a Catholic, if you're on the street, if you're one of my neighbors and we're in the same kind of neighborhood, and I've got a family and a couple of kids, I don't care if you're black or white or Jewish or pink. You have the same issues that you deal with every day. You talked about 5 trillion of GDP. I'm sorry, 5% of GDP could be for something. We could even expand beyond that. And I got another two things to add, if you don't mind. I'm really sorry, but you're just bringing up so many different things that we never get to talk about. We get to talk around these issues, but you're going down the core. And this is really interesting and exciting to be able to do that, because you like to explore the whole picture. And you're bringing that now, and also the core base that it's all built from. So, in a neighborhood, I don't care, like you said, we're all the same. We're different. We're unique. Nobody lives the same life because they look through it through their own interpretation, their own eyes. But at the end of the day, we do need to come together because we all believe the same things, and we need to get, you said 5% of GDP. What could we do with that money? Well, America alone spends, 16 point something trillion dollars a year of our money, just like of your money. Your government pays that. They use your money to pay for that at their own discretion. And how much waste and fraud and abuse. So yes, that's true. That wars should go away, and there's more money. But that's not going to happen because the defense, you talked about it, the defense industry and the government, they're making big bucks off this stuff. Huge dollars off this stuff, generationally. We have presidents that came into the office maybe making $100,000 a year on their office salary, and now own 19 McMansions and bank accounts of $30 million.
Yeah. So how about this? How about we make it illegal to profit from weaponry?
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
That'll fix a lot of stuff.
And I looked this up the other day. In fact, I got AI to research for me. For every $1 for peacemaking, peace building, $1,883 warmongering. So when you've got that,
I'm surprised it's that close. I'm surprised it's that close. Honest, I'm not kidding you. I'm surprised. A dollar versus, it's 1,000% more.
Nearly 2,000% more.
Almost 2,000% more.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen until we get together and that whole forgiveness and building up. And by the way, think about this, to add to your war thing right there. I don't mean to disrespect saying war thing, but imagine if there was never but somebody killed in a war throughout our history. Imagine how, because not only do I, as a 19-year-old boy, die in the field, but the entire generations behind me that would have been are never going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then on and on and on. I mean, we have I think it's 8.7 billion, or I think it's almost 8.7 billion people on the planet now. I bet you we'd have 30 billion at least on the planet now. I mean, that's how many people have, I mean, go to the Civil War, go to World War II. Thousands of people died, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, and mental illness too.
Yeah.
So that whole war thing is very, very real, very strong, very important.
Yeah.
In no time soon will it ever happen.
Well,
until we get together. We need to be, like you said, it should be illegal. Well,
yeah.
The people in office are going to make it illegal.
No, I know. So we, the public, have to demand, and we, like you said, this kind of shift in the zeitgeist towards more love and peace.
Ooh, good word.
We have to be the ones who are going, that is no longer acceptable. Obscene amounts of wealth for a very few people is not acceptable. It's like, we need to share it. Like that is what we should be doing as a society, and building peace. We need, like, what if we did invest 5% of GDP in peace building? Like, why are we not doing that? Apart from because everybody's making money, but like, we need to make that illegal. But so the whole argument, and also this is, I mean, as a forgiveness advocate, the whole argument for war is pathetic. Because you don't agree with those people, you want their land. Well, if you want their land, then you have to negotiate. And if you don't like them, meet a few, chat to them, find out who they are. What are the differences? I don't know if you've ever seen those adverts for the, I think it was for the genetic research, where they have people who were like from different, like supposedly different cultures and different religions, normally be warring, and then discover that they were all cousins. And they're all kind of like chatting to each other, and it's like, and when you say that won't happen for like generations, only if we say it won't happen for generations. It could. I mean,
well, we have to make it. Only we can make it happen.
Yeah, and we have to have these kinds of conversations where we're saying, why is it not happening? If the people in leadership, and that's not their agenda, which it evidently is not. It's all warmongering. So we need other leaders, or we need to disempower the leaders, and have other people who are going, how do we get everyone around the table? How do we feed everyone? How do we clothe everyone? How do we make meaningful activities work, creativity? How do we get the world working for everybody? And everyone's going, oh, AI will solve all of our problems. Well, it's not rocket science. That's what we need to be doing, is that we have a system that looks like it's intractable because of all of our economics are based on those, like the way things are, and we need to change it. Yeah.
And here's what's interesting. Wow, there's a lot of things interesting. Well, first of all, let's go back. I was really excited about this, or am still, but was really excited about this discussion. And I kind of hate this. I need to get this better so I can see you and talk to you and see you at the same time. Yeah. Now you're moving around. Now you're making it more difficult. You're playing with me here. But at the end of the day, we need to. Okay, so I call it a watch party, and I know I accidentally stole it from something else. I've heard that, your watch party like so-and-so. I thought I was making a good name on something. But anyway, let's call it a watch party, whatever that is. That's how this started. This started because it was just me and Barbie, and we were sending stuff out and saying, we need a watch party, because if you sit down and you look at the things that are on the ballot, let's say, the people and the things, we have our government, specifically ours, but realistically, everybody kind of flows, the free world flows in the same direction. But when the people that left your great nation came over the pond to create another extension of that great nation of yours, and then a lot of those people were elites going back and forth. And then when the whole taxation without representation thing started, they created a series of documents. And this is what I get so freaking mad about, because they set up of the people, for the people, and by the people. And that's what you're talking about. And that's what our founders, they were elites. They had nothing to gain from this, but they saw a better union. They saw a way, because they believe that important decisions should be made by the masses, not by a democratic where New York and California decide for everybody else in the nation what they're going to do for their life. It's a democratic republic. So what does that mean? We vote people in to handle that area, to go do my bidding, come out of the field, come represent us. We're going to trust you. We're going to vote you in. If they do anything wrong, you vote them out, go to the next one. Do anything wrong, vote them out, do the next one. If they do everything right, whoa, okay. But what we do now is I know your system's a little bit different, so I'm going to use mine. We vote all the way down red or all the way down blue or whatever. And we never get that change, because there's mostly crooked people, at least in our government, and I'm sure in yours too, that are running the things because they've been there 20 years. It's their freaking business. And people are walking home with pockets full of money on negotiations for things that are supposed to affect us.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
We are the problem. We are the problem.
And no politician, either side of the pond, should be able to profit out of their role.
But they can't, because we're lazy.
Teachers don't. Like you're a public servant. You educate the young, or adults. But so the fact that you can make gazillions off from, let's not go into all the what actually happened. But just we don't know. But that shouldn't. Yeah, but that for even the most aspirational and well-intentioned politician, it's still going to be really tempting to make a few mil if you can. It's and so we need to withdraw that opportunity from people so that they can stay. Like you said, the founding fathers were not profiting from their visionary ideals. Yeah. And yet today, like you said, if somebody can find a way to make $1 million or put something in there, they're going to do it. I go further than that, in that the culture demands it in Washington, in the government. And like you come in, like you said, how I put it is, somebody will come into government at whatever level, usually like city or county or something, lower level, and then work their way up, and then the party sees what a star they may be coming. And then they train them, and literally you're now in that you become part of that system, or you're out, because they have a lot to lose if you don't join in and become a one of the people. They could be not only losing less money, but probably going to jail. I mean, realistically, if any of these people are actually ever prosecuted, we've got thousands of politicians spending a great deal of their future lives in jail. But what protects it? The media. That's what we're up against. And they've had thousands of years to build this system. The first government was 3 millennia, was like 3,000 years ago. And so they've been developing this all the way through, then Europe, and then, that they know how, the governments know how to make government be government. And they got all the freaking money in the world they want. Especially here, we're the highest consuming market by far in the world. So there's money flowing, and they're just in there. They're like in a stream with a net, and just dipping it in. Up. It's flowing up, not down.
Yeah.
Have you heard about what they're doing in Taiwan though? I think it's Taiwan. Is Audrey Tang, who's the Minister of Technology. They've been using AI to do collaborative decision making. And so they randomly ring up like 400 of their, constituents, or, whatever they're called in that country. And then they get them to talk about, like on Zoom calls, they get them into small groups, and they get them to discuss the policy changes. and then everybody's heard. So it's facilitated by AI, and everyone's heard. And at the end of that process, they have like an 85% approval rating on the decisions that are made, because there's been so much input by like a wide section of the.
And they actually use that in that.
Yeah.
Then that becomes that one that got 85% or whatever becomes policy.
Becomes law. Yeah. If you look up Audrey Tang.
All right,
she's
I will look
the
that
minister.
up.
She's the minister of technology. Absolutely fantastic.
What's her name? I'm going to write it.
Audrey Tang, Tang.
Audrey
Tang, Tang.
Eytang. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Got it there. That's fascinating. No, I had no idea, because you just described what a watch party would end up being. I mean, producer Barbie, the last election, we've been doing this for a little bit, not that long, but we've been talking about the need for political reform for a long time, and especially out in California, there's you're led by the media. They tell you flat out lies, which you can see. CNN says the same topic differently than Fox. You can't be both not lying, or sorry, one of you has to be lying, or both of you are. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're extensions of the media stronghold, and then they put us in boxes. Oh, you're black and you're white. You two hate each other. Just so you know. Yeah. We actually have better relations now. It's getting better now. I love these little TikTok things that say, "Hey, white people, just want you to know we want to get to know you. We like you." So that's why I'm saying the 70s is coming back. People are starting to make some efforts, and that's a comical thing, but it's also true. It's real. It's because people want to bridge those gaps that bind them. But this watch party that I talked about, so one of them was a, California, pretty staunch left-leaning Democrat. Not okay. Most people are here. The government and the radicals keep the message out here, where only very few people really believe that, and they're probably being paid to believe that, and everybody else is here, but we never get to hear us because so they started a watch party out there. And one Saturday right before the election, they went through not only the politicians and read what they are, and actually they spent like 3 hours over a lunch. There was a group of them, and same thing, much smaller scale, and AI wasn't involved, obviously, but they came back, and the people that were like, "Oh yeah, let's vote for that." Yeah. And then they started reading and just debating. And this is civil debate. This is, I want to learn from you why that is your opinion. Not, I don't believe that, which is where we are now. Although evolving out of it, there's very few weird fucking extremists that just scream in your face if you're trying to have a discussion with them. All they do is scream. Well, that's hey, you're obvious. Life is hard, but it's really hard if you're fucking stupid. And that's what those people are. And they live that life day in and day out. So you have a watch party, obviously not with them. You go over the things and you get that 80% approval thing because people are smart. Well, most people are smart. There's a fringe on each side that are not smart. I mean, that's like saying the KKK was smart, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got that on the other side too now.
And I think we're a bit in love with smart. I think we're in love with like the wrong kind of wisdom, because smart, fast, like, it's like, that's not.
What does that mean?
That's not really it, is it? Yeah.
No.
It's like what we want is wisdom. We want big picture thinking. We want people who are taking the long view. Like, it's okay, like build millions of robots, but just like out of what, like at what cost to the environment? It's like, really, do we need it? And just because we need it, should we be doing it? It's like, we need to be having those kinds of conversations. And I don't see them anywhere apart from on intelligent podcasts. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. I watch a guy called Nate Hagens, and he is brilliant. And he interviews Audrey Tang, actually. I really recommend that one. And he's just great. I mean, big picture thinking and asking the right questions about why are we doing what are we doing, and should we continue, or should we be trying to do something else?
And here you have the problem. Now people are starting to talk, communicate. So that's a start. What is it? The old saying, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So we're kind of a little bit past that. This open discussion thing is so positive, but then we need to take that to the next level, and we need to understand that we are intelligent enough to know what's right or what's wrong. And we've had for so long the fear of being canceled, where we're looking at something that's blue. That's a bad. Black. That's another bad. Yellow, and they're telling us it's blue, and we have to believe that, or we're going to cancel you and destroy your business and have, there's bullying. Talk about bullying back in school, right? There's bullying that's been going on. I think finally people are starting to realize, I think I could actually speak and say that's yellow. It's not blue. I see yellow, and not be afraid of their life. I mean, I don't want to get, well, I'd love to get really political. You and I seem to be a little bit on different. I lean a little left on some things, lean a little right on some things, whatever you guys call it over there. But there's this need now for people to start coming back to the center, because if we do that, then this message becomes something more. Watch parties become something more. That whole AI thing you're talking about over in, what'd you say it was in Taiwan, right? Yeah. Well, Taiwan, first of all, is an awesome nation. I hate the situation they're in, but that's a kick-ass nation. That's a place full of really smart people, that are, they're kind of like, the Southeast Asian areas as a whole is different culture and different beliefs and different long runs. But, there's some really creative, and there's a lot of talent around the world that we just don't know about. And these shows are starting to bring up, which is kind of cool. Let me get to a question here, because I think, if you don't mind,
okay.
We're on our second question. We're on our second question now, I think, right? So it's that third. No, we're way ahead. We're on our third question at an hour and 11 minutes, and 500 people listen to me babble and you say smart things. So we got a good, hey, you and I got a thing here. We got a good thing here.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Rochelle here, Hemingway. Oh, my favorite writer. Ernest Hemingway, right? I spent some time on Key West, and, I'm a writer. As a matter of fact, this podcast was based on a book, or is based on a book that I started to query, and it's nonfiction. So I realized that if an agent's or a publisher is going to take that book, I got lots of compliments, but I had no way to sell it. If you're going to do it like a songwriter, if you're going to produce music, you have to also be able to sell yourself. And so you need that. It's always more helpful to have that platform, obviously, because it's easier to sell. And so I started this. Now I can't go back there because I'm so tied up in this. And tied up's a bad word. I'm
Committed.
It's like,
passionate.
No, I'm addicted. It's like heroin going straight into my vein. I can't stop doing that. I do 2 or 3 of these a day, and I do a TikTok because I meet so many fascinating people. The TikTok, all it is to describe you in today's show. And so, which is kind of cool. We're just building off of it. We actually stream right now, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. And then right after the show, we'll bring it down, and then Ronaldo will come over, and we'll do a TikTok about what we talked about on the show, which is kind of working out. Just started it, but it's so fun. I mean, it's like I play a video game all day long. I get to talk to great characters. I get to learn stuff for free. I mean, when I get into this kind of stuff, it's like going to the sociologist or the psychiatrist and getting an hour, probably going to be an hour and a half, 45-minute or more lesson that you're coming on here, and I'm getting the benefit out of it, and I'm not paying the hourly charge that my hospital or insurance says I got to pay. So this is an addictive thing for me because of so many things, and not least of which is because I get to meet people all over the world, Australia and the UK, just like you. I hope I didn't lose you. I did lose you, did I? I knew it. I lost her. All right. Well, that was good. You guys heard it. So we still are almost at 500 people here. She'll be back. So Rochelle, I can't explain the 7 steps? We were alluding to it earlier. Let me come back to you, Rochelle. As soon as Barbara comes back, we're just starting to roll down here some of the questions. We're in pretty good shape. I think we're fine, but I want to see where we're not. Oh, there you are. Hey, baby girl, how you doing? Barbie, are you on here? You were supposed to be on here. There you are. You're messing with me. How much did you hear of that big long diatribe I said?
Where were you? You were talking about your book. You were talking about your book, and so I kind of I missed the end of that. Whatever.
So the book has got 13 chapters, and one chapter is about religion. It's called "Blinded by the Light." I love that title. I don't know,
nice.
but everybody really likes. Yeah, thank you. Everybody really likes the message, but then they get to my how you're going to promote it, what's your platform, and I went into this page and a half. So come join me on a journey on how we're going to. And I read it back. I didn't know any better, so I thought it sounded good. I was using and that's when it was like, you serious? Do you know what being an author is or no? And I don't. I know how to write. I love writing. So I haven't been able to come back to that book yet. Actually, 2 days ago, I fixed that marketing thing because we got something going on here now.
Yeah.
But I'll get to the book, but this is way more addictive, even more than writing. Yeah. So I was jumping off some other people, which I'm not going to answer the seven steps. That's the next question. So I had jumped on to Ronaldo here, who's one of our our producers, let's say. How do you feel about the subject of dispensational? All right, we'll come back to that. Help me with that word. That one's too big for me. Ronaldo, you just kicking my ass here. This is the one that we had left off it. But can you explain the 7-step process in simple example? We started to talk about that right at the beginning, but this is something that people, Rochelle and others, I had mentioned Hemingway, my favorite writer. I spent some time in the Keys.
That's what took you off. Yeah. So the 7-step forgiveness made easy process is something that I've created, which is something that you go through, and it's done like an imaginary ritual. It's like a forgiveness ritual. And
okay.
So what happens? Somebody was saying, it's a like forgiving somebody. When you think about forgiving them, there's usually quite a long thing that needs to happen before you get to the point of wanting to do the forgiveness ritual. So, for example, if there's something that's happened, say you found out that your spouse has betrayed you or is having an affair, you're going to be so angry and so hurt that there's lots that needs to happen before you go anywhere near forgiveness. And in fact, I heard somebody say this the other day, which I thought was very good, was if you are still hemorrhaging pain, it's too soon to do your forgiveness work. And I feel like the forgiveness part is
good.
It's just like, it's something that you can do. And the 7 steps takes a really short amount of time, relatively speaking, because it's a bit like, if you think about like getting married, there's a courtship, and then there's the kind of like all the, like sometimes years before you actually do the ceremony of marriage, like, which is you stand in front of people, you say words. It's this kind of like a sacred kind of thing that's like, there's a reverence to it. And so that's what the 7-step forgiveness made easy process is it's the marriage ceremony. And it's actually, I think of it as an undoing. It's like undoing vows, like that's the healing. But the courtship,
that's good. Clever.
Yeah, the courtship is quite long before you get to the point where you're just like, I really do not want to be waking up thinking about my ex for one more day. It's like I want to feel like that's done. And I often, like when I work one-to-one with clients, that like it's because they've had enough of the grievance and it's starting to bleed into their new relationship. They're still like, I can't. I'm hearing myself. bitching about that previous, like my ex, and you don't want that. You don't want that in your field. So this is when you would do your forgiveness ritual. And and again, you're doing it to liberate yourself, because your ex might be like remarried with another family or whatever, and they're off having a lovely time. And I love this quote, so I'm going to share it with you. One of my favorites about holding on to resentment and why we don't want to do it. Holding resentment is like setting yourself on fire and hoping the smoke will bother the other person. And I love it.
Wow. Let's hold on to that. Say that one more time, because that is awesome. Say it again.
Holding on to resentment is like setting yourself on fire, so you're the fuel, and hoping that the other person will be bothered by the smoke. So it's like they're off in their lives and they can hardly even smell it. But you are the incendiary device and you're burning up your own fuel. That's why you want to be able to unhook yourself.
Wow, that's so true. God, that's a great point. I'm going to put that out on one of the shorts. That's a great message. It's phenomenal. Yeah. I did. Obviously, can we go through a little bit more of these steps, because you're talking about them, but when you talk about it being a long process, and you said the one thing that kind of hit me hard, well, I don't know if that's the right description, but it hit me, is when you said, I forgot who I'm going to paraphrase here, because I got it in the last thing, and then I know what I want to say, but I don't remember the exact words, and this is what it is. If you are still in pain, fix this for me.
You're still hemorrhaging pain.
There it is. Then it's too soon.
Too soon.
So that then you said it, which is awesome. It's so true. How can you forgive somebody if you're just not even right with yourself about it yet? Yeah. You got to be right with yourself, right? And kind of
to an extent, because the thing is, unless you know how to overcome what's happened, or a way of like approaching it, it's a bit like a big gnarly problem. Unless you know how to approach it, you could wait decades. And I do work with people. I work with one woman I used to work on a retreat for 7 years, which is just wonderful. I wasn't on retreat, but I helped to facilitate retreats. And somebody would come, and this particular woman I'm remembering, she had been abused as a child, so sexually abused as a child. And she said after she'd done the forgiveness work, all of that bad feeling that I was holding in my body, gone. And she was in her 70s. And so what happens is, like, a big thing happens, a bit like a wave, and it stops. It's like you can't process it. It's too much. There's too much pain, too much trauma. And so it waits, and it will wait until you have the right environment to be resolved. It's like it can resolve itself, but you need the right conditions, which is usually a loving other to support you and a way through. And that's kind of like the 7 steps of kind of like a way of navigating through that big tangle of, because it's a tangle of things that you think and things that you feel. And this is like, I could have a whole like hour on just this particular thing. And I'm sure you've got some stuff to say about this as well, Rod, is like, the difference between our thinking and our feeling, our language doesn't make that distinction. We say, I feel betrayed. The fact is, if you have been betrayed, what you feel is a mixture of things like regret, anger, confusion, hurt. So they're feelings that you have in your body are different from the thinking, the thoughts that you're having. And we're really not very good at using our language. We say, oh, I really feel that, whatever it, follow it with whatever it is. And so that means that you're thinking about the feeling, not just having the feeling. It's a really important, because we talk about mental health. We mean mental and emotional well-being. We don't just mean mental health, because that's all about our thinking, and that's about our meaning making. And like, if someone betrays you, or say they have an affair, because that's like a really easy thing that people can relate to. Someone has an affair. Sure. Your thinking will be, they don't respect me. I'm unattractive. He or they prefer them. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. I'm a failure. So that's all of your mental activity The feelings will be shame, sadness, hurt, jealousy, confusion. And it's like being able, and also most of what you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Most of that's not true anyway. And we don't even know how to work through that. So there's all this mental stuff, and we don't even know how to unpick that. And that was one of the things I learned on the More to Life program. And then also Byron Katie, she does something called the work, which is a way of working with or working through that mental activity. And then you need to also attend to your feelings. What do you do with your feelings? Because I often talk about this, that when we're talking about forgiveness, we're talking about three things. We're talking about the need to forgive those who've betrayed us or hurt us or upset us. We need to do our forgiveness on the people on our forgiveness list. And then we may be on other people's forgiveness lists. So we may need to be forgiven by our exes, by our children, by our parents, so there's the need for us to be forgiven. And then there's also self-forgiveness, which, again, we could do another hour on that. So, so there's all these different things where there's different parts of the same thing. But what gets in the way of the same thing? So when we're talking about self-forgiveness, the things that stop us forgiving ourselves are the same kinds of things that stop us forgiving other people. So just to say that the 7-step process is sort of like the end of quite a long journey of getting ready to forgive.
Can you give a little name to the or is that taking it out of a contextual thing? 7 steps are, like you said, it's like developing a relationship. You got a courtship, you got, and there's different parts. What's very, as Miss Hemingway said there, Rochelle, thank you, by the way, for your question, Rochelle. The 7-step process, is it kind of like grieving? You forgive, you grieve. Different. You grieve, you accept, you get angry, you deny, and then you accept. Is it kind of that sort of thing? That process that's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, it's exactly that. So it's making room for all the different things that need to happen, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to balance up. Because when something bad happens, we've all got this internal weighing scales. And so we're trying to make it even. We all think things should be fair. They aren't, but we still think that we want them to be. And when something bad happens, we somehow want to make it even. And there's a few things that happen. One is we want to do the same thing back to the other person, because then they'll know how it feels. So that's what's called revenge. Yeah, exactly. So we want to do that, and then they do that, and then we do that, and then they do that, and then we end up with 100 years of war. Anyway, so
for no reason. And you know what? What's funny about that is we have hundreds of years of war, and there's very few that actually remember why we hate each other. Yeah, it's always been that way. So we're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. So we're trying to balance the scales, and then the other way we do it, and this will be what you've been talking about on social media, is in order for us to feel better than the other people, we need to bring them down. We need to give them a little bit of our hate. So I'm the up, they're the down. So and especially if they've done something to us, then we're going to do this. And you can probably see various different global people, people on the global stage, doing like spouses, like you have one like celeb who's married somebody, and they're doing this in court for weeks and weeks, to everyone's high, amusement and engagement.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But anyway, so we're trying to do this kind of internal balance thing, because when something happens, the idea of saying I'm not going to retaliate is so unbearable to us, and if you think about, sometimes you do see that, you see people who a terrible thing happens, like their child is killed, and they say, not in my name. I will not seek revenge in not in my name. And so therefore you've got this imbalance.
Wow.
And so that's what feels so
Powerful.
unbearable. But the thing is, if you take away the grievance, that's why forgiveness is so powerful. You take away the grievance, and that is what brings you back into equilibrium, because you realize that it doesn't matter how long I hold on to my grievance. It doesn't matter how hard, like I could be really gripping hold on to all these things like really hard, and my arms are aching, and I've been doing it for 40 years. Nothing is different. It still happened. I was still abused, beaten, blah, whatever that happened. That I haven't changed it by holding on to my grievance, and I'm not changing the future either. However, if I let go of my grievance, maybe I can write to my senator. Maybe I can participate in some kind of protest. Maybe I can use my energy in creating a different future. And you do see people who do this. There's been some amazing stories where, like, there's two. I don't know if I can't remember the name of the two people, Tony and Azimha, I think. Their two sons. One son killed the other, and in gang warfare. And the I think they might have even been grandfathers. The grandfathers came together because they could see the victim who died. The grandfather could see that the boy who killed him was as much of a victim as his son, as his grandson. And so they then set up something where they now talk about forgiveness and do reconciliation, and they do work with gangs.
Wow.
Amazing. That's a much better use of your time and talent than just hanging on to a grievance and bitching about it for the rest of your life, and basically calcifying.
I'm not going to say very much at all for the next little bit, because I keep watching as you're going through your story, and I've actually kind of let you talk.
Thank you.
We're at 572 people now. We were floating right, and never have I seen. I'm into numbers, sorry. But never have I seen after an hour the attendance start to go up versus, after a while, people are, they got their lives. They got to go back to lunch or whatever. And this isn't peeling off. This is adding on. The neighbors going, hey, you got to listen to this Barbara girl. Listen, jump on this channel. Get on it's freaking amazing. They're calling each other all down the street. I could tell. 568 people now. An hour ago. Well, almost an hour, 40 minutes ago, it was like, remember, we were at like 490. Now we got another 70 people since then. So, like I said, you're attracting the thing. Randall here he also has a great question right after this. You okay on going forward here?
Yeah,
You're
let's
good
do it
with that last point.
Yeah.
So Randall says, so glad, and I don't think I've ever seen him. I get the advantage of seeing people. So I recognize him, unless they change their whatever. But Randall says, so glad I joined live. This is exactly what I needed today. And that's
Fantastic.
Beautiful, Randall.
Fantastic.
That's you. That's you right there. That's you. And by the way, I think I should say this with so many freaking people coming on. You better not be stealing my subscribers. We'll share them. I'll share them with you.
Yeah.
Please just leave me some. Leave me some. Because you've got a really big interest here. And what you have is you have a channel of people that are starving for all this information. But for all the other things, finance, AI, all those topics are hot and people come. But you know what? The topic that really people sit and listen and ask questions, because I think 70% of society, I think that's the number. It might be a little lower or higher. I don't know. But I think we're kids now, as well as adults, depression, mental health across the board. I think 70% of us kind of have that going on. The numbers are rising. I think it'll change, but that's a big number. And why is there so much interest in that? Because so many people are affected. I know I come from that. It's a very personal thing to me, and not so recently. I always cram stuff in. Something happened, I just compartmentalize it. Something else happened, compartmentalize it. Not forgive, just ignore it. I had people embezzle. Just stuff happens, and
that's you're waiting. It's basically stuff has happened. And then you're waiting.
Yes.
It's like holding your breath in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta let out.
That's huge. That's huge. Does forgiveness look different? And this is the one I mean, thank you, Randall, for that comment, because it was awesome. Randall, does forgiveness look different across cultures or beliefs? That's kind of interesting to me. You go out to the Middle East, there's differences. Now, I don't know if that drills all the way down or we just hear about it on the news. Do you know if there's like an effect there?
I understand that there are some differences, and in some cultures, there's certain things that are called unforgivable.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that does, yeah. I mean, I try not to theorize too much. That's why I'm always trying to bring it back to us, because, if we're theoretical about, well, who could forgive such and such, or, that's all out there and kind of like, like our vicarious looking at somebody else's lives, as opposed to, have I got anyone still on my forgiveness list? Yes, I have. I've just recently added, sometimes I resent things like helicopters. If they're dangling around over my house, doing their exactly just when I'm about to fall asleep.
Oh, I hate that.
So annoying. And then they go away, and then you're just thinking, that's not gone. That's going to come back, and I'm going to wait here, and I'm not sleeping, and I'm getting more and more angry. Yeah. So you.
Just what you just said.
Totally. So I did two things. One is I did a forgiveness process. I did my 7 steps on helicopters, and I swear I am not bothered by helicopters to the same degree as I was. And I wrote to the Ministry of Defense about where they were doing their training. Pointless, because they just ignore my email. But I did the thing as well. It wasn't just I did my forgiveness work.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, it is, because we're like Velcro. We get hooked on things, and so if you do that thing and I am hooked on, then you have power over me. If I make myself Teflon, then when you do your thing, I am what's known as unfuckwithable.
Oh, that's my girl. Whoa, that was good. That was a heat ball. That was boom down the middle.
That's your TikTok moment.
Exactly. That was awesome.
But that's why you want to do it. That's why, for your sake of your mental health. Otherwise, we're like these little balls of Velcro. We're getting stuck on everything. Somebody said that, and then she said that, and that happened, and they did that, and my grandma, and blah, blah, blah. You're like, no wonder we're like distracting ourselves with things that don't really matter. If you become like Teflon, then those kinds of things, and of course you get hooked, but then you just do your work. It's like rinse and repeat. You take the bins out. You don't just let everything accumulate.
I was just going to say that. Damn, I was just going to say the bins because it's a great example, but you nailed it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do your work, man. People, do your work. All right. Juanjo Valina. I'm terrible with names. I'm fascinated by names. It's probably because I'm so terrible at saying them. God, I can't believe there's over 500 people with an hour and a half. Oh shit, hour and 40 minutes now. How long does it typically? Now, this has got to change. I was looking at this. I'm sorry. I'm glad you need glasses too. I saw that. You snuck that up to read, which is awesome. It makes me, anyway. How long does it typically take someone to go through the process? Now, that depends. One, probably, you talked about the lady that was 70 years old that finally gave up on let go of the abuse, and she was now good. If she would have started that, I assume the abuse was when she was a kid, maybe. If she would have started that back then, probably wouldn't have been equipped to be able to do that. But somewhere in maturity, somewhere in the actual thing, and who that other thing is with, probably all affect that, maybe. I'm guessing.
So getting there, getting to do the work, however long it takes, years, decades, moments.
That's the key. Starting the work.
Yeah. The actual process that I take you through, the 7 steps, 90 minutes.
In 90 minutes, you could be there.
Yeah, 90 minutes. That the process itself, like the marriage vows, the undoing vows, 90. It's a 90-minute process. So it's the getting there that takes the time. And then when I guide, because sometimes I guide like groups of people through the practice, and it's a 90-minute masterclass, and people come and we do the practice. It's a bit like, like you go to a yoga class. You do like you don't go
both.
I do both. One-to-one, one group.
And then also whatever this is, like
I love this. I love having conversations. I love it.
Yeah. No. What I mean is one-on-one, like in person or remote. Do you do both of those? Because
both.
Okay. Because us out here, we're across the pond now. So, that's a little harder trip to. Yeah, there you go. That's what I wanted to know. Okay, cool. I'm coming back to Ronaldo, and I'm not going to try that word. I already embarrassed myself once on it. And I hope you know what it's about, because I mean, I get it.
Dispensationalists. I can say
that again.
Dispensationalists, but I don't know what it means. What's a dispensation?
I don't either. How do you feel? By the way, Ronaldo she's into this stuff. I mean, big time. She's very creative. And by the way, I asked you a question earlier about some of the content you've been changing just this last couple of days, Ronaldo. It's a big twist. I love it, but I'm curious why that changed. That's a different story. Don't need to get into that with you. I'm sorry, Barbara. But Ronaldo, please let me know. You got my number, call or text. Dispensationalist. So dispensation. So dispensation means you're taking something and you're taking it away. You're dispensing of it. And then yes, a person who discounts maybe these kind of messages. Ronaldo, that's as good as we got. Am I right, Barbara, right now? I know she's on.
Maybe she could just clarify what she means by that. And
that's what I mean.
And then I'll give it a go, but I don't want to give it a go when I don't even know what it means. Because it could be an American thing. It could be a cultural thing that I don't understand as a Brit. It could be just I'm ignorant, but that's, possible.
Well, then we're both that same thing, only I'm at a further disadvantage because I'm not a Brit. I'm her friend, and I have no freaking idea what the hell she's talking about. Yeah. So it may be a culture thing, but it may not be. Ronaldo, I'm harassing you. I know I am, and I'm going to let it go right now. But please. We got probably at least a few more minutes. Looks like we got 10 so far. We got like 8 or 10 more questions. But Ronaldo, get your ass back on here, and I want to hear that. Jim Carrey's next. Mr. Carrey's come to visit. What's the first step in forgiving someone who deeply hurt you?
First,
you talked about this early. Deeply hurt you. Go ahead.
The very first step is acknowledging that you've been hurt. Like
by that person, or just in general. That person hurt me. Acknowledge it. That's the first step.
Yeah, because and that you're possibly holding a grievance about it. See, that's because you can't. If you don't think you're holding a grievance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Then then you've just been hurt and you're not holding a grievance. But I think most of the time when we're hurt, we hold grievances, and we hold them.
That's interesting.
Sometimes because it feels like it protects us. Like we've got this kind of like protection over our hearts. So that's what the resentment can be like. Yeah. So
your book?
No, it's not. No, that's not my book. This is my book.
I want to see it. I want to see your book. I always get jealous of people who are smarter than me can actually get a book through.
Can you see?
Go down.
Can you see the cover?
Down. Oh wait, hold on. I'm gonna make this better. Watch.
Okay. Can you see? I just absolutely love this this image. I actually went to the artist. I saw it online, and I asked the artist if I could commission him so that I could pay to use it. And I love it because the misery is coming from underneath their own umbrellas. And this guy, he's in control. He's got his umbrella, even though he's ready for the rain. He's looking up at the sky, and he's free. Yeah. And everybody else is in their own. It's the rain is underneath the umbrella. It's coming in from themselves. It's not from the outside. And that I love it.
what they're using to protect themselves is the thing that's hurting them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Them, right? Coming from within themselves, like you said.
Yeah. Your own environment. Well, like you were
Right.
saying about like the meaning making, like you're creating the meaning making. You know, you're giving
Exactly.
It's your version of reality is underneath your umbrella.
Yeah, exactly. Your version. Nobody lives the same life. Which, you know, when I first heard that a long time ago, I thought it was like a what's that show? Where they shoot the bullets in slow motion. This famous
The Matrix.
movie. It's like the Matrix.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has a different view. When I first heard that everybody lives a different life, I'm thinking, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, heard this 20 years ago or so. And I'm like, okay, so this is a Matrix is what you're saying? My eldest son, actually, the Matrix, I haven't talked to him about it in a while, but you know, there's a lot of belief in different things that happen. But the bottom line, no matter what all that is, I'm standing next to you and I'm living a literally completely different universe, world, whatever than you are, life than you are. Why? Because it's about what I think and what I conceive that message, that thing, that moment is, and it's going to be different than you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different than you because every second of every life, you're absorbing that through your own eyes, your experiences. And then, are you forgiving or are you not? So it really twists a lot. If you really look at it, it's kind of fascinating it's fascinating what you're doing because you put those things together and it's connecting dots is fun to say, but it creates the picture. You're snapping in the puzzle pieces and that picture's coming together because now I since I've grown and learned and had people like you, and especially you, because you're bringing in something I haven't experienced. So that widens some things. But now I say, oh, no shit, that makes sense. We are not living the same life because of our views. And that's another reason. Come more together. Not that we all want to live the same life. That's not where I'm going. But it makes life easier. So why is it so hard to forgive ourselves sometimes? Is that a guilt thing? And this is about ourselves. Isn't forgiving somebody else.
Yeah.
So Jeff's got a great question here.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. There's lots of reasons why we hold our resentment against ourselves and other people, and some of it.
Same thing. Is it the same kind of reason? No.
Yeah. In some ways. Yeah. Because it's sort of it's a bit like back to the kind of like scales. If we've done something that we're ashamed of, somehow we feel like we want to keep it's almost like maybe even keep hold of it so we don't do it again. So it's kind of like, oh, I've got this, you know, I've got these, you know, these things that are wrong with me, or you know, it's and so I think we hold on sometimes to the grievance because we think that will somehow stop us doing the thing again.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then sometimes and this is a bit more subtle, we have payoffs for holding our grievances, and this applies to ourselves and to other people. We get something out of it. Well, if you know, if I say to people, what are you getting out of holding your resentment? Most people will say nothing. But that's
what
not
they'll
true.
say. That's what they'll say.
That's
what
not
do they
true.
Think?
That
Okay.
what they're getting out of it, they might not even be consciously aware that they're getting something out of it.
Okay.
So they might be getting the moral high ground. So because at least I'm like this, you see, and those people, that person, see, very bad person, but I'm a good person. Yeah.
Judgy. They get to be judgy now.
Totally.
Ooh.
And because they did such a bad thing, I am entitled to dismiss them, treat them badly, not give them money at Christmas. You know, it's like you have a sort of like a way of like treating those people. And, you know, we do this all the time, you know, on the internet. If you just think about all of this is like the grievances. Somehow we justify our behavior, why we're better than the other people, or why we're entitled to do such and such, or, you know, I can steal the stationery from the office because my boss is an idiot. You know, it's like
I'm just okay. Yeah.
Justifying.
Well, and sometimes us human creatures can be petty, huh? Go ahead
Oh,
and finish your thing. I just
well,
want to
no,
slide that in there.
I mean, yeah, no, really horribly petty. But I
Yeah.
think the reason why we don't let ourselves off the hook is similar. It's like we're like, I know I'm better than that, so I'm gonna keep the grievance going. It also means that if I'm judging myself, like, oh, I did a really bad thing, I betrayed my boss, or I betrayed my husband, or whatever, and then you kind of like, then you're cowed, and you're just like, oh, well, yes, no, I don't deserve, like there's a martyr drama or a victim thing that you can play out. Again, really subtle, but like sometimes, and also one of the other reasons we don't forgive ourselves is because we don't want to admit, actually, yeah, I did do that really
That
shitty
did it.
thing.
Oh, yeah. Makes
I
sense.
did, I
That
did,
makes sense.
I actually, yeah, I consciously had an affair and didn't tell them. I chose to do those things. And so there's so much shame that we think, well, if I don't forgive myself, then I don't have to face the shame. I don't have to face the feelings.
Wow.
And I don't have to clear it up. I don't have to do anything different. I don't have to then make amends, or I don't have to take responsibility. So it's really murky down there, really messy.
Yeah.
And we like, we don't want to feel those things. We'll do anything. We'll watch Netflix, we'll drink, we'll spend time, we'll go to the gym, we'll do anything to not, even do the gardening, to avoid feeling those feelings. No, I love them.
That is so well put. That is so well put. I love that. Great question there, by the way.
Yeah, great question.
Jeff, sorry. Jack here. Actually, Jack comes on periodically. He's got a rememberable face. He's got that. So I remember him. I'm curious, does forgiveness mean reconciling or letting go only?
Definitely only letting go. Yeah. Because that's another thing that we spook ourselves with.
Great
it's like,
question.
It's a great question. If I forgive someone, does that mean I'm going to have to remarry my ex? No. No, it's okay. You don't have to do that. But you can have a different feeling.
Hey, I got a couple exes out there. Don't totally listen to what she's saying there. I'm not totally supporting that part, because I've changed. I'm a better person now. So
yeah,
I know that they'll actually, Barbara, she probably heard me, and now she's like, fucking Rod, stop it. Let it go, would you?
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to advocate for my ex who is mixing my album. We're like, we split up about 25 years ago. He's mixing my album for me, so we're good.
I love that. Friends without benefits, right? That's kind of that's a corny thing, but that's Barbie and I mean, we get along so much better now. For many reasons, it worked out, and then it didn't. Well, it's not that. I'm being whatever. What you just said is exactly awesome, because you can get there.
You can.
Right? I mean, very much you can get there. And when my first wife who gave me my sons, sorry, I've only been married once. Barbara and I had a thing. God, I'm going to mess that up. She was my partner in business and life. And so when with Deb, 23 for 23 years, so till 46. At the end, it was kind of like we're just trying to push each other out of the house, and the waiting till the kids were grown, all that ugly stuff. But at that point, I was angry, and I never saw the ability for us to, that old story, the kids are oh crap, mom and dad are going to be in the same room, and they never get along. And I dug my heels in the sand and said, that's the way it's going to be. And then all of a sudden I went, what's this all about? So I started making up to her. And actually, when my oldest son's granddaughter was born, we were there. Deb came in and I came, of course, we're grandparents, and we stayed in different parts of the house, but we stayed with them and for several days. And we had a fine thing going on because we had already started passion. But when I was leaving, I actually asked her to come out and sit on the porch with me for a little bit before I headed out, picked up my dogs and headed out. I told her, I said, look, I got to tell you this. You kept this family together, and I love you for that. Sorry.
No, that's
certain things get me So we had that talk, and it was a growth. Later on, I didn't plan this. I need to do this. And I realized that I became a little bit more of a human at that point. And my life became better because I was able to tell her what I've always think, but we weren't talking, nor were we really making an effort. And then when that change happened, I mean, we're only going back a year and a half ago. I became another better level of person, of feeling for myself, because I gave her what she deserved, that I always held back because I wanted to be right on every part of it, not just some of it, but every single. Yeah, no, I wasn't, never was. So that was a great moment. And forgiving, at that point, I forgave myself and her. And I'm sure at some point she did whatever the hell she wanted with it, but we gave a big hug and there was a difference. There was a twist back to where it was. Yeah. That was awesome.
Really nice.
Anita's a regular on the show. I love Anita. How do we forgive someone who's no longer in our lives? Well, there's a lot of things here. One, you don't need them in your life, right?
But it may be that someone's died. It may be they've
that's true.
Yeah, I mean the way that I do the practice, that the actual forgiveness made easy process, is you can do it on anyone, whether they're alive, whether they're in your life, whether they're not in your life, and sometimes.
Hold on. Oh, I read that wrong. I'm sorry. Who's no longer, and somewhere it says that's no longer alive, and I can't find it now. So you're right. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it may be that they're not in your life anymore because you don't have children together, and so they're an ex, and you don't have any contact with them. But it's the same thing. Because you do the ritual in your imagination. That's where you're working, and it's just for you. It's not a dialogue. It's not with somebody, and that's the beauty of it, is that you can do anything, however long ago it is. If it's like a school teacher who, I had one client, God bless her, who was stood in a bin. If they made a mistake, the teacher stood them in the waste paper bin, age 4. And she was dyslexic, and that had such a massive impact on her. Yeah. Anyway, so that was something worth forgiving.
Certain people. That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
and that scares me about people.
And she came to do the process with me because her son was getting to that age, and he was starting school, and and it was like it was triggering her. She was coming back up again, she was getting hooked by the fact that she had that unresolved trauma from age 4.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Give me. Sorry, you choked me up there, and I didn't want to just hit the button because you could see me cough. So I figured I'd give it a little bit of professionalism. I didn't time it right, but better than you guys hear me hack on the. This is a podcast. Who has actually started to come on a little bit here lately, which is interesting. Hey guys, we could do a guest thing together too, as well as I'm sure Barbara would do as well. Absolutely love your energy and clarity around this tough topic, which is a great way to put that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm open to being interviewed on other podcasts.
No, she's not. Don't listen to her. She's lying to you. She's not allowed to go in. We're exclusive here.
The world needs the message, I reckon.
Yeah, it does. It does. The myths you busted were eye-opening.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Dixon.
Yeah. Thank you. That is great, Dixon. Danny, I think he said something earlier. What one daily habit to help build a forgiving mindset? So this is a daily habit where you have a mindset, not just to be able to forgive something, but you have a mindset, like you talk about, that stronger being where, more of that godlike spirit. Forgive 7 times, would you say 7 times 700 or something like that?
7 times 7. Yeah. Or 70 times 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my forgiveness list. I won't leave it up very long.
Hold on.
No. So that's the daily practice, is noticing.
Wait,
and this
go
isn't
back.
Daily.
Go back. I didn't see it.
Well, no, it's just you write it down in your book. It's like at the
Oh,
back
I
of your
got you.
journal.
Okay, I got you. Your
Or on
journal.
your phone. Like you're thinking, on my list is Mr. Elon Musk, because he says some things that I don't agree with, and he wants to do
Tell
things.
me what
that
you don't agree with him. Tell me what you don't agree with.
Well, he thinks
We won't debate it.
he thinks that we need to go to Mars, and I think we shouldn't be allowed to leave this planet until we can play nicely on this one. Once we've established that we can make the world work for everyone, we should be then considering going to other planets. Otherwise, we'll just make a mess of the other planets, like we've made a mess of this one. But anyway, that's just my personal view. So I need to. So he's on my list. So that's what I mean about. So the daily practice is just really thinking. Actually, no, that's really got me. Like he hooked me by that. Like, so I know I need to do my work, and also I can hear myself bitching about it. If I'm moaning or complaining, I mean, this is not kind of like beautiful. This is kind of like, where's the dirt? I mean, that's the daily practice. It's not about visualizing light and everyone. You know, it's like, where am I holding a grievance? Yeah, that person. I was driving the other day. I was going to turn right, and I was indicating, but I was waiting for somebody to come out of a driveway. And they were having trouble, you know, like they were doing it. And the person behind me, you can't stay there, you stupid. And I was offended because I was in the right. But 2 days later, I'm still offended. And she's gone. You know, she's off with the smoke. And so she's on my list. I do a really like minute practice. We're done. It's like, takes me like 3 minutes, but I do it. And that's the thing. So
that's your daily.
Well, not necessarily daily, because you know I sometimes have to build up to them.
Right.
But the practice
it daily.
It's writing it down. You know, like whenever I feel hooked, it's like it's not quite like brushing your teeth, but it's noticing you've got bad breath and then thinking, oh, I need to go and clean my teeth.
Oh, why did you tell me that?
Yeah.
Wow. Very good. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's time to do my work. Yeah.
This has been an awesome. Right now, I've got your information here.
Thank you.
Actually, I was like, how did Barbara message us? I didn't. What's going on here? Did she jump on here to ask a question? But then I realized that
no,
I'm just.
Wait. Oh,
Ronalda, it's where you rightly divide the Bible and where we are following under Paul. Did I read that right? It's where you. So she remember this question here. I'll go back up to. Remember, we asked her to send us back this question.
Yes. How do you feel on the dispensationalists?
It's where the rightly. Go ahead.
And we're now following under Paul.
Anything there?
I still don't think I understand. I mean, the thing is, nothing I've said, so hopefully everything that I've said about the need for forgiveness and how you do it, what gets in the way, the practice of it, that applies to every human being, regardless of what faith or doctrine that you're in. It's like, absolutely. You're going to have a resentment. I mean, if you're a human being, you will probably, when on the retreat, we used to say, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. Everybody needs to do forgiveness work on their parents, because as a parent, maybe
wait. If it's not one thing, it's your mother. That's funny. Yeah. That's clever.
Yeah. So and as a parent, my son will be very happy to tell you I wasn't apparently perfect. And we all need to do work on our parents. Siblings, usually there's some kind of something, but like either the young one is a golden child or the older one tries to kill you, like my sister did. And let's not go there. So there's going to be stuff, like being put in the bin when you're 4, the difficult teacher, the kid, Howard next door, it's like all of those kind of like, that's just like an average deck, like a hand that you're dealt in life. And then your first heartbreak, and then the friend who says she doesn't want to be friends with you anymore. Exactly. Yeah. And then the boss, and then the, like the mistakes you've made in business or the difficult, I mean, on and on and on, and then helicopters and Elon. It's like it goes on and on.
Wait. What did Elon? We skipped over it. What are you forgiving Elon for? I want to hear this one, please.
No. Well, I did.
I won't debate it.
Yeah,
I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. For wanting to go to another planet when we haven't actually worked out how to play nicely on this one. It's like we really need to learn how to play nicely on this planet before we're given leaving permission.
Very interesting. That's a different. Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. That's very interesting. So this has been an amazing show, as you know. I'm shocked. I mean, we're over 2 hours. We still have 164 people on here.
Oh, cool.
This is good information that people need. So you have obviously a great fan club here in our little world. So please come back. Obviously, anything before you wave bye-bye to your newly beloved fandom here. Would you kind of give us a closing? We got your contact information here.
Yeah.
Right. And
Thank you.
Audrey Tang. Wait a minute.
That's not. No.
That's
Audrey.
That's
Audrey Tang is the Taiwanese minister.
No, I know who it is, but it was an interview or something, right?
Yeah.
I didn't write that down right.
With Nate Hagens. Another podcaster. Different field. He's good. So you really enjoyed our conversation.
Is he as good as me or no?
Yeah.
Better. He's better.
Well, he's not quite as engaged, like fun. But
this is the one thing that kind of puts us apart because we really get involved in here. This isn't let's scratch the surface. I'm going to ask you a question. And I'm going to sit back and go to sleep while you diatribe out. That's not a cool way to go. But thank you. I appreciate that. Go wait. Now pause for a second. Now rearrange what you just said into a more better compliment. And I won't say anything, and I'm going to use it for marketing. Okay. Hold on. One.
I really enjoyed our conversation. It was really good fun.
Yes, because the questions are engaging, aren't they?
These and I do want to say that to say thank you to your audience because the questions make it interesting, don't it? It's like even though I'm sorry I didn't understand all of them, but but it keeps it engaging. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, it keeps it engaging and it keeps it in a direction of, okay, I haven't asked about that yet, or you may not have thought about presenting that. And they came up with something that is a little bit of a twist. It's so easy to follow smart people. And this
also,
has been fascinating.
And also it's useful. But like if somebody really genuinely got a question about forgiveness, like they're struggling with something, I really want to know what people are struggling with so I can be helpful. That's the point. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So wait for me in the green room. I'm going to throw you back in there. Again, same rules on the peanuts. Chocolate covered. All right.
Can I say one last thing before I go?
Oh, no. I was going to say, do your, no.
Oh, yeah, good.
Please. Last thought and then wave and then I'll throw you in there. That's what I was going to say.
So what I want to say is when we do our forgiveness work in our own hearts, it adds to like the field, like the forgiveness field, if you like. It's like the intention to do the right thing, to not hold the grievance. Because it's like saying, I'm going to live my life without hate. And that makes you so powerful and so free. I mean, if we talk about wanting freedom, true freedom, Teflon. Then you and I, me, and then we go and co-create something really interesting. And so what I say is that your forgiveness is an act of amnesty for the whole of humanity. So if we want a world at peace, do your work.
Yeah. God. Well, it's been a pleasure. Hang out. I want to kick back with you back there and we'll I don't know, maybe we'll pop a glass of sparkling water and drink while we're eating peanuts and chat about some stuff. I'll be back in a second. I'm going to throw you back in the green room. You all good? Wave to everybody.
Yeah. Wake up as one.
I love that. So, wait. Okay. We already did this one. I was hoping that we had one more extension. I was hoping Ronaldo was going to give us one more shot at that, but I know I'm going to find out because I talked to her on the messages. She helps me with the TikTok. So Barbara here, I promised that this was going to be an exciting show. And I honestly, I failed miserably at describing that because it's so much more than I anticipated. I mean, I singer, songwriter, forgiveness, mental health, the way to improve yourself. I'm thinking, and funny, and she lives in Australia. Just kidding. Yeah, she doesn't. I don't know where that got into my head. She let me get away with it. Barbie, you let me get away with it like 3 or 4 times, if I remember right. And then she threw me under the bus and said, by the way, I'm not from Australia. And I should have heard it because in your voice, extra harder, the Kiwis and the Aussies got a little bit harder of an accent there. It's like the Scottish and the Irish, right? But at the end of the day, and by the way, I am bred. I found out. I used to think I was Irish and Indian. I was told that growing up. I'm actually almost 100% English. I don't know. So I feel you, sis. I feel you, sis. And forgive me for screwing up your day today. Fair? Oh, you shook your head. No. Okay, fine. Now I threw you back under the bus. All right. So anyway, we like doing these shows. We love doing these shows. We love having our family together. We love bringing this energy together. We love having experts that actually know something that I can easily facilitate because it makes the show better. That all happened today, and hopefully it basically happens every day. But today was really good because we got to take a look at some mental health issues that can go away or not exist if we fall. Damn, I'm getting excited here. That if we follow the examples that Barbara's talking to us about here, because at the end of the day, a lot of the problems we have in our day, as the joy, the simple, the calm, the things that a day should bring to us, if we are not forgiving ourselves or others, there's that ding, there's that buzz, there's that uncomfortable feeling, there's that something is off. That's the best you can hope for. And it goes beyond that as well, because forgiveness isn't about that person or that person, unless that forgiveness is you. And then it is about that person, because you're not doing it for that or that or that or that. You're doing that for here. So next situation, next moment, next conversation, next opportunity to not influence, to be part of somebody else's betterment. You have to be able to, as Barbara says, you have to be able to not only engage but forgive, and that's what makes you feel better, so that every conversation after that makes the other conversations that much better. That makes the vibrations, that makes the vibes. I'm gonna go back in the clean room. I'm from the medical machinery business industry, to the green room. I'm going to ask Barbara to give me a little private concert. And we're going to play songs together. I'm not going to sing. I'm a singer, but I can already tell she blows my ass away. So I'm not putting myself up to that. And, this is because we're here at Insights. We got a green room across the way. You guys all know producer Barbie. And I got to get back to Barbie here. And we're going to go have a private concert. And I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.